WSUV Sports, pleased to be here with John Smoltz, Hall of Famer, Atlanta Braves legend, now a talented broadcaster. John, how are you doing today?
Doing great. This is the best weekend of the year for obvious reasons, but whenever you can get in the same room with the great players of baseball, I feel like it's an honor.
Just how special is this weekend every year?
Well, you never know when and who's going to get in. The best part about it is watching them get inducted. Out-of-body experience when it happened to me a long time ago, and now I get to relax, kick back, share some wisdom, and watch them go through what we all had to go through.
Is there any specific wisdom that you'd like to impart on the incoming inductees?
I think the biggest thing is obviously to breathe, have a diversion. But I think, when you're talking about your career, it's hard to kind of bring it in a narrow scope. And I think the biggest thing that I learned was Johnny Bench sat us down after we got inducted and told us to sit on the rocking chairs and reflect on what just happened. And it was pretty cool for 5 minutes to kind of take in everything that just happened.
John, how are you feeling about tomorrow on the course? How are we feeling?
Well, I have all the pressure in defending I should win. So when you're supposed to win, you can't get off your game at all, because if somebody beats you, they're going to let you know about it. But this is a fun golf course. It's a frustrating golf course because the greens are so tricky. And I just hope to win as many years as I can come here.
Beautiful course, too. How did you play down in Tahoe last weekend?
Tahoe, not as great as I would like to. Sunday, I had a great round. A little too late. Finished fourth. Something about Tahoe and those greens just don't work out for me. But Marty Fish is really, really good. I'm going to have to catch him on a bad weekend. Second day, I did not play well. He had 9 birdies. That was a difference.
Wow. Yeah.
Sunday, I had 7 birdies, but just too much ground to pick up.
So more of a baseball question now. I'm really intrigued. You missed the 2000 season, and then you came back as a relief pitcher, got a ton of Cy Young votes as a relief pitcher, and then you were able to get even more Cy Young votes towards the tail end of your career as a starter once again. Just curious as to how that 2000 season went down and you pushed forward. What did you have to do to adapt to become one of the best relief pitchers and then go back out and still make 30, 35 starts and still get Cy Young votes?
Yeah, hardest transition I've ever gone through from starting to closing. Totally new, I had to learn on the job. Set some incredible numbers in 2.5, 3 years, which never I thought would be possible. But starting is what I've always wanted to do. So when I went back after 4.5 years of not starting, I had trained for it, done it 14 years prior, so it wasn't a big thing to me. It was to everybody else, and I think everyone thought I was officially crazy when I tried to go back. But, in my journey, I was never afraid to fail, never afraid to learn, and never afraid to laugh. So those things really added up well for me because I failed a lot, but I learned my greatest lessons through my failures.
Speaking of learning and transitioning, you're now a very frequent broadcaster. You've done All-Star games, you've done World Series games. What was it like starting out as a broadcaster, and what have you learned along the way about broadcasting?
Actually, I actually apply the same thing. I'm not afraid to make fun of myself, not afraid to fail. And then, I think the game's hard. And if you broadcast the game as if you played it in an era that was easier than the one they're doing now, you're in trouble. But I've really learned a lot through the years of just... My best advice that was given to me was give the viewers something they could possibly never know. If you could look it up, there's no value in me being able to say it. But if it's something that they could not know with your experience, pass it on. And that's what I try to do.
And now as an analyst, who's your favorite pitcher to watch?
Man, there's a lot of them. It's always been Jacob deGrom. Unfortunately, he's been hurt a lot. And, I've been a Verlander fan even in the tail end of my career when he was still pitching, but now doing what he's done. Clayton Kershaw, classic. And now Paul Skeens might be one of those guys that I cross my fingers and hope that, he stays healthy. We have too many injuries in the game. Guys are going down way too fast. Tommy John injury epidemic. I just hope that we find a way to slow that down.
What do you attribute to all those injuries?
Massive training the wrong body parts, throwing way too hard, max effort, spin rate, and then the ball has something to do with it. The ball and the grip of the ball. But the training and the reward system that they're playing under gives the players really no chance to do anything else. And once they lose their velocity, their careers are over. And that's a shame because I pitched 21 years. I never lost my velocity, but if I did, at any particular time in the year, I knew how to pitch. And I could still pitch through it. Today, that's not the case.
What did you think was the main key for you in preserving your body and preserving the quality of your play to withstand over 2 decades in the MLB?
I think the biggest thing is how we were paid to play, and we trained to play. We didn't train to throw the ball through the brick wall. We were having to learn how to throw a ball where we wanted to. I did a lot of fast twitch muscles and no big muscles, and that worked out well for me. I had 6 surgeries in 21 years, but only missed a year and a half. I pitched in 14 straight postseason seasons, so that added a few 200 more innings. And it was a mindset, you know. Today, if I was pitching, they would ask me to throw 98, 99, which I could, and I would have lasted 3 years.
Lastly, you mentioned lots of postseason reps. Those 90s Braves teams that you were a part of were known for just having so much star power, so much depth. Who do you think were one of, or if there were a few, some of the most underrated members of that team? And are there any players on that team that you think could be or should be eventually enshrined in Cooperstown?
Well, Andrew Jones is the greatest center fielder that I've ever played with. And Andrew Jones should and will get in the Hall of Fame. 10-time Gold Glove, over 400 home runs. That's a no-brainer for me. A lot of people might think I'm biased, but that's okay. And for as far as our team, Steve Avery was one of the greatest pitchers that unfortunately, injuries did him in. And he was going to be the best left-handed pitcher that could have pitched in a long time. So I'm amazed at how good he was. He won 2 1-0 games in the 1991 playoffs against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Not only is that hard to do, but he gave me a chance to pitch Game 7. So a Michigander and one of the greatest guys in the world. So I think he doesn't get enough love.
John, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for doing this for us. Enjoy your weekend.